What is good, and welcome back to another installment of Extraordinary Sound with myself, Tokyo Extraordinaire. And in this episode, I wanted to cover the differences between stems, 2-tracks, and multi-tracks, also known as trackouts. So starting with your 2-track, your 2-track, contrary to its name, is actually going to be one file. So when you create a song, your beat, your vocals, everything put together, when you export that MP3 or that wave, that is considered a 2-track. It's called a 2-track because it consists of your left and your right stereo channels. And when you export it all together, that is going to be called a 2-track. Your multi-track is going to be those individual files that your 2-track is made up of. It's going to be your individual lead vocals, kicks, snares, pianos, whatever those instruments are, whatever vocals you recorded, all of those individual tracks, those multi-tracks, those trackouts, that's what that is. Now your stems, very similar to your multi-tracks, it's just groups of those tracks. So if you're ever asked for your stems, they may want all of your percussion exported as one track. Then you'll get all of your drums exported as one track. All of your snares, maybe they want on a separate track. Whatever those groups of sounds are, those are going to be exported. So your stems are very close and very similar to your multi-tracks or your trackouts, but it's very similar sounds that are going to be grouped together and then exported. So when do you need them? As a music producer selling beats, you may be sending out just the MP3 and wave, or if an artist is paying more money for it, you may be sending them out the individual tracks to that beat so that they can have more control over it. As an artist, if you're working with a audio engineer, or if you're working with sync agents or anyone that may need the trackouts or the stems to your song, you'll be sending out those individual tracks if they need that. Or if they just need the MP3 and or wave, that would be considered your 2-track. So when you hear these terms, this is what you'll be looking for, and this is what you'll be sending out. As a audio engineer, to get the most control over the mix that you'll be working with, make sure you ask for the trackouts if they have them, especially for vocals. You may not always get it with beats, as a lot of beats are just kind of sent back and forth as 2-tracks, MP3s or wave. But when you're dealing with vocals, if you can possibly get them as an audio engineer, make sure that you are asking for the stems to as much as you can get. If you can get those stems and trackouts to vocals and the beat, that would be perfect. If you can't, work with what you have. So how do you go about obtaining these files? So depending on the programs that you use, this may be either really simple or it may be really tedious. And because I don't have every single program out there known to man, I don't know all of the different ways that you could do this. So I'm going to go with the way that will work in any program. So in Pro Tools, for instance, because I do use Pro Tools, and unless someone knows something I don't, if you do, please tell me in the comments what this is. But what I typically do in Pro Tools is I'll go in, if my first instrument is a piano, I'll solo that out. So the only thing it's playing is the piano, label it, and then export it. Once that's done, I'll go back in, unsolo that, solo the next instrument. If that's a kick, label a kick, export it. I'll do that for every individual instrument. And you really want to make sure that they're soloed out and nothing else is playing for each instrument, or it's going to sound really crazy when you have 3 of the same thing playing because you forgot to mute something. So you definitely want to be sure that everything, when you're exporting these individual files, they are all soloed out and going onto their own individual tracks. In Reason, for instance, there is a way to export each individual track. I don't know why Pro Tools hasn't figured this out actually. But in Reason, when I'm making a beat, I can go in and select all of the instruments that I would like to be exported. And when they bounce, they will bounce out as individual tracks. And then I just take those and I always mix in Pro Tools. But it's the most simple thing ever. So again, if someone knows how to do this in Pro Tools, please tell me, help me out. But that is the best way to do it. You just solo out each instrument, obviously name it, label it, and export it out. And you want to make sure that they are all starting from the same starting point and the same ending point, so that whoever is the receiver of these instruments, they're not playing Tetris trying to figure out, okay, does this part come in here? No, you can even highlight from the beginning to the end of the song where you would like it to end, and keep it that way as you're exporting all of those individual tracks, so there's no confusion for the receiver on the opposite end of that. So I hope this helps. If it has, be sure to leave a like, a comment, subscribe, do all of the YouTube stuff, and share it with someone that you think could benefit from this information. I appreciate y'all for watching, as always, and I'll see y'all in the next one.